Am I live? Oh, there you go. One of the things that I hear most often from contractors, from businesses that want to get into government contracting or businesses that are already winning government contracts, they ask me two questions. And I want to answer those two questions today, but I also want to show you a little bit of the how. Okay, so breaking down a little bit of the how. If you don't know who I am, my name is Melinda Colon. I am a government contracting expert. I have helped my clients achieve over $4.4 billion. And I'm all about increasing the value of your business. Why does that matter? Why is it important to increase the value of your business? You ever felt like the bottleneck in your business? Like you can't take a vacation, you can't take a holiday, you can't take a sick day. You are the business. And unless you're working, your business doesn't make any money. And this light's kind of bright on me. Okay, cool. And so the reason why value in your business or increased asset value, or if you are in acquisitions like M&A, mergers and acquisition, you know that the enterprise value, the value of your business matters. It becomes an asset. And I have a belief that the 99% were they 99% of people understand that creating liabilities is more valuable than creating assets. And the thing is, they don't even know that they're doing it. It's just, don't even know that you're doing it. You don't even know what it is, right? These are the 99%. The 1%, if you're a 1%, then you know the value of an asset. You understand that assets have value, meaning that you don't have to physically work harder. Your money works for you. Your systems work for you. Your business works for you. And you get to step out of being the bottleneck and allow your business to soar and accelerate in growth. That is why I believe government contracts was created. I really do believe that. I believe that government contracts is an opportunity for service businesses, for product businesses to leverage what is already working in their business to grow and scale it faster. And I don't believe that if you are selling 50,000 things, you're creating an asset. Instead, create actually selling a few things and becoming a master at that sales process is what makes you an authority, what makes you a brand. I mean, think about it. Coca-Cola, they sell Coke, right? Um, any any retail brand, any hospitality brand, what do? They stay in their lane. You know, you've probably heard the saying simple scales. Well, there is truth in that because imagine you're just coming from the grocery store. You got a whole bunch of groceries in the back seat. And, I've been in this situation where I'll pick up all the groceries and I'm just like kind of trying to make it to the front door and it's heavy and I'm going extremely slow. But I'm thinking to myself, I don't want to have to go back. Well, that's when we can create leverage. Leverage means that we're creating a system that can carry the bags so that we don't have to put the pressure on ourselves to carry them. And we're still getting to where we want to go faster. We're using less energy, and the system that we've created lasts longer than we ever will. So, creating asset value is important. Now, one of the things that I teach my clients is about forecasting in government contracts. One of the mistakes that I see a lot of, if not all of the government contractors do, is that they go straight to SAM.gov or a procurement site and they're looking for an opportunity to respond to. It's too late. It's too late. There's too much information that you're missing out on. Even if you are a supplier, too much information you're missing out on, and you're only getting what they put into the solicitation. And oftentimes, the solicitation is written by someone who is not an expert in your industry. So, this is an opportunity to two things. One, be proactive about this how you get involved in those opportunities before they become contracts. And two, actually be the guide, the advisor, the support system that those buyers need as they're formulating the solicitation. These is a part of acquisition, the process of acquisition. And it's important that you understand that because it's going to impact your win rate. It's going to impact your sales process. It's going to impact your stress and your anxiety and your overwhelm if you are just looking for the opportunities to just show up. If you don't know when it's going to happen, I don't know about you, but I like to know just generally when something is going to happen so that I can prepare. When I prepare, I am way more wise. I'm wiser than I would have been if I just kind of jumped right into the opportunity, right? Head first, like just said, oh, well, there's something and I'm going to go after it. Now, if you're just getting started in government contracts, this is where I would start. I would start with step one, which is to prepare your business. Prepare with the end in mind. You've been in business for a while. You already know what's working in your business. Now, you might be thinking, what do I sell to the government? What services do I offer? And it's really simple formula. What we're going to do is going to look at the last 12 to 18 months of your business. What was the number one service that has been requested by clients and that you've delivered? And two, you're also going to look at the number one service that you have past performance on. And this means that you actually have documented the process. If you haven't done this, you can go ahead and do this. It doesn't take long, 10, 15 minutes. You can dictate this or have someone on your team do it. But really understand what was the challenge that the client experienced, what was the solution that you delivered, and how was the outcome? Did they were able to achieve the goal either successfully, overwhelmingly better than they had expected, or was it just on poor? This is really important. Did they go over budget? Did they stay within budget? Was it under budget? Did we deliver on time or were we late in delivering the project? These are metrics that you want to capture in your case studies, or another way of saying it is past performance. But this is the things that you need to really start to prepare and build confidence around your government contracting journey. You see, government contracting is not just a one time thing and I'm just going to get money today. Like it's not an instant get rich quick kind of deal. It is not. It is a long journey. Sometimes I've helped my clients achieve contracts and win contracts in a couple of weeks. Some of them take a couple of months. It takes time. And so this is a long-term journey. This is one of the reasons why I really, really believe that this is government contracting is a secret wealth strategy. See, if you do it right, if you know what you're doing, you're not going to win once and then lose out on contracts in the future. You're going to win again and again and again and really create that recurring recession proof revenue. So once you've prepared or you know what you are selling and you have a clear understanding of what you're selling, the other part is you're going to ask your clients, like, what did we do great? What did we do right? How can we improve? Like, these are elements that could actually feed the operations of your business in a big way while you're preparing to position to win a contract. So step number two, after prepare, step number two is targeting the right buyers that buy what you sell. Now, a lot of people might think, well, I'm just going to go on the procurement site and I'm just going to start bidding and we'll see if I can find something. And oftentimes I've taught government contracting hundreds of times to different professionals, internal employees, to big enterprise organizations, government contracting. And at the end of the day, this is the question that comes up the most. How do I know what they're going to buy before they buy it? Well, for the state, local, and education level, so that's typically the acronym is SLED, SLED, state, local, and education, they put together a capital improvement plan or a program. And these capital improvement plans is exactly what it sounds like. They're looking or they have identified things that they can improve locally for their jurisdiction. And they put in there like whether it's going to be a new construction, it's going to be in a renovation, it's going to be a new school district, it's going to be some more roadway. And I'm talking about construction, but it's just one of the many things that they include in their CIP. On the federal level, there are budgets that are published. Right now, you can actually go and look at a federal budget just by Googling the federal agency name and the word budget. It'll come up with the most recent federal budget, and you can just take a look at what they're expected to or they're expecting to spend for specific products and services. So this is ahead of actually spending the money. Now, there's more places where or just websites and public record information that's available to you, so you know when the quarter is. And usually that's as far as you want to go. You don't really want to go to the month because it depends. Like right now, at the time of the recording of this live, there may be a government shutdown. And so, because there's a delay in getting contracts out, it's actually a good thing, by the way, for government contractors because it shortens the window of time. And so, because it shortens the window of time, it can slide or adjust the schedule in terms of their spending. And of course, now it's more of in a hurry to spend the dollars because at the end of the day, the government's responsibility, your government buyer's responsibility, is to spend the money to all the way to zero. And so they can't have extra money left over at the end of the fiscal year. And now we're giving them less time to spend that money. So this is an opportunity to really think like, how can I be more strategic? How can I position myself to win? What are their spending habits in the past that can dictate whether or not my revenue plans are right in line for adding and diversifying my business revenue? These are things that you start to ask yourself in this quiet season. And so instead of worrying like a consumer, think about it like a contractor, someone who is proactive, strategic, intentional, and takes action on activities. Listen, there are government buyers on LinkedIn right now. Are you connected with them? Are you checking in and seeing how they're doing during a government shutdown? See, relationship building is the core of business development. And just like any form of business, you want to build good relationships. So that's step number 2, is really figuring out who is buying what you sell. Now, step number 3 is strategize. I recommend 3 different strategies. There are tons of other positioning strategies, but these are the ones that I have heard back from government buyers that have spoken directly to me and say that these are their favorites. So one is prime. If you're a prime contractor, what does that mean? Prime contracting basically means that you own the contract, whether that's at the SLED level, state, local, and education, or at the federal level. Now, when you own the contract, you're responsible for the work completed. Now, there's also subcontracting, which is basically that you're under the prime, you're responsible for your scope of work, and then you're out. You're just responsible for what you deliver, you get paid for that, and you move on. Now, a lot of people believe that past performance, how can I get points for past performance? How can I be able to show that I was a subcontractor on that? Can I still include that in my past performance? And the answer is most of the time, yes. For local and state, yes, you can. For federal, they will indicate specifically if you can or cannot. And you can always ask this question during the pre-proposal process. Like within the solicitation, they'll tell you. And you just ask the question whether or not you can include that past performance. I have an experience in a situation where you couldn't, but it's just kind of keeping that consideration if you're a subcontractor. In different positioning strategies, it might actually not work in your favor to use your past performance, but subcontracting definitely for sure, because you're showing up as an expert that can deliver that specific specialty. I mean, really think about it. If you're a generalist, like a general doctor, a general practice doctor versus a specialist, like a brain surgeon, right? There's elevation in your expertise. Now, if you show up and you're the elevated expert in that specific arena, then there's more authority and brand recognition around that. Okay, so we talked about prime, we talked about subcontracting. The last one is usually the least thought of, but could potentially open up contracts that you wouldn't necessarily bid on because of the size. Now, it's called the joint venture contracting positioning. And joint ventures, this is not just saying that you're a joint venture verbally. This is a legal contract that you create a new entity and you bid on a contract. I wouldn't recommend this for anything less than 50 million, 100 million plus, because it is technically a separate entity, and so it's got to be worth it, right? But if you have a strength, you know your strength in your business, and you have done your research and your due diligence, you know the opportunities are coming, positioning yourself as a partner in delivering excellence with another contractor who has strengths in the area that you're weak and is weak in the areas that you're strong, then you come together, give the client the best excellent experience of all. That usually becomes a win. Now, there is a specific formula for making joint ventures an opportunity for you to utilize in your business. You definitely want to have past performance. You want to build a relationship with the client and actually know what they believe your strengths and weaknesses are based off their scoring and your relationship with them in the past. These are all things that you want to keep in consideration. And also, when you're getting into larger contracts, typically they are longer term contracts. So whoever you're partnered with, you want to make sure you could play well and that they're reputable. You definitely don't want to be tied to a rotten fruit, right? You want to make sure that they're at the same caliber of quality and excellence as your business, and they can position that way. So even doing a FOIA request, a Freedom of Information Act request on that company, your partner's company, and looking to see, okay, this is how they scored, and for them to do it for you, and just really be transparent about positioning in this specific initiative, because at the end of the day, that's how you're representing your business and your really desire to work with that agency. Okay, so we talked about prepare, we talked about targeting, we talked about strategize. Now we move on to submit. And this is about the proposal and the fee, like what your bid package is going to look like. Depending on solicitation, it's going to be different, right? Depending on what you sell is going to be different, right? So you want to make sure that you understand what the outcome is supposed to look like. Now, if you've never bid before, if you never responded to any solicitations, or let me put it in a more generalized term of like an advertisement, bid advertisement, contract advertisement, then you might have a little bit of like stress and overwhelm about it. Like, what am I supposed to put in there? What am I supposed to say? How am I supposed to respond? What am I to include? What don't I include? Does it cost me anything? Like, how long does it take to put this together? And rest assured, 90% of it is answered in the solicitation, and the other 10 is just experience. And so you want to work with a coach, a consultant that can guide you through that so that you're not having to trip over yourself and you can get the outcome that you truly desire. One of the things one of my clients said to me, she's a construction firm, and we helped her win two $7.5 million contracts, total of 15 million in 90 days. I believe it was 90 days, some local contracts. And she said to me that the branded proposal template that we created for her business that she used over and over again, she started getting some feedback from clients like, who did this? This looks amazing. And whoever you have doing your proposals, keep doing it. Now, when you get feedback from a buyer like that, a client that you want to work with, I mean, that makes you stand out, but it also tells everybody else, look out, you've got real competition here. So how you put together your package, your bid response is important. You want to put some care to it. You want to be intentional about it. You don't want to just slap it together or copy and paste it from ChatGPT. You want to make sure that your brand voice is in here. At the end of the day, you're creating a serious business blueprint here in government contracting. Just like you built your multi-million-dollar business, you want to be intentional about every single thing you put into your bid package. So the last step is track. It's actually to really improve what you already know about your client and to improve your bid packages, your proposals, your fees. Just really understand, how do I take this information that I learned from a debrief, from the just requesting the scoring sheets, and actually looking at that information and saying, I can improve. I can improve in these areas. Let's go ahead and update our library of information so that the next time we go after this, or the next time we go after a contract similar to this, we're not starting all over again. We're not guessing and we're not getting it wrong again. One of the mistakes I see business owners make is that they get anxious. Listen, there are trillions of dollars being spent from the federal and the SLED level every single fiscal year. And it might feel like, how much can I get? Right? I want you to feel that. That's abundant mindset. However, we want to make sure that we're staying focused and growing something that has a value to it. So if you sell construction services, then stay in construction. If you are in IT, stay in IT. If you are a professional services firm like finance or marketing, then stay there. Stay in your industry, because after a while, those iterations are going to build and build and build, and you will become so unstoppable that the future competitors will be like, how do I even get in? I can't compete with their business. And that's what you want. You want to be on the speed dial of every government buyer that you work with. You want them to know that you can serve them and you want to serve them. Okay. So that's what I wanted to cover in terms of the process. Like, how does it work? But let's dive into a little bit of the title of this video, which is to know about contracts before they're contracts. I pulled up 2 capital improvement plans, 2 actually I need for an upcoming strategy call with a client, and I thought to share them with you and show you how I'm going through this. Now, the great news is this is public record, so you could Google your locale, like your city, your state, your county, even public works. I mean, there are so many government agencies. There are over 90,000 government agencies across the United States. So you just need to look and you can find these opportunities for you. And they're great. They're great opportunities that you could look for. Okay, so you look for the opportunity, the agency name. So City of Riverside, we're going to look at, and then just type next to it capital improvement plan. It'll pop right up. Okay. 1 second. Just need to pull this up. Okay. Move this over. Hold on, guys. I had something pop up. I want to respond to. Yeah, so this is the time to. Perfect. This is the time to be strategic and intentional and start planning, right? And it doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be complicated. I'm going to show you what I do in a PDF, and then I actually translate that to notes and then build out a strategy. We're just going to do the first step of my plan and my process so that you can get an idea of how you could do this on your own. And if you want help, just click the link down below and you could come to my upcoming free masterclass, GovScale Insider, to add a revenue stream to your existing service business. Okay, let me share my screen real quick. Share screen. Yes. And then window. Riverside, great. Okay, so I actually started building this one out, but this is for the city of Riverside in California. You guys can see my screen. Okay, great. And let's see. Do I need to do this? I do. Perfect. Let's see if I do that. Even better. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I'd rather you guys see the document than my beautiful face at this moment. Okay, so this is a capital improvement program, or sometimes it's a plan. And this is for 5 years, 5 fiscal years. Sometimes you'll see them for years, sometimes you'll see them for 3 years, 5 years. It's just all dependent. So stay away from putting the year in the search. Just pull up the capital improvement plan. Okay. And you could find this information right on the city's website, the county's website, Public Works. It's right on their website. Usually go to purchasing or procurement, doing business with us or something like that, and it will be listed there. Okay, so that's the cover. And as I'm going through this, I'm strategic about how I look at information. And one of my friends was like, how do you do that? It's like, well, I've been doing it for like 2 decades. So it's hard to explain. You know how you're a master at something, you just do it over and over again. It's just like comes so fluid. So I thought, let me just put a video together and let people see my brain and how it works. And hopefully it makes sense. And if you have any questions about it, just comment below and I'll answer your questions. Okay. So California Society of Municipal Finance Officers, that's just like a certification award for previous capital budget that they put together. So one thing that I was about to write is that this is basically a note that they are really proud of their budget. So, meaning that they're really intentional on how they spend every single dollar. This is something that I might incorporate into the proposal or include in my conversation with them. Like, I know you guys are really intentional and proud of your budget. I mean, congratulations for winning the Capital Budget Excellence Award for fiscal 2021, 2022. Like, really knowing what, why, or what they care about, it matters for any agency that you're working with. Okay. Budget message. All right. So this is a letter from the City of Riverside. So City of Arts and Innovation. So this is something else to keep in mind. If you are like a mural artist, if you are a painter, if you are, arts and crafts, like this is okay. This might be an opportunity here, right? This might be an opportunity because their focus is City of Arts Innovation. They are proud of what they stand for. And every agency, whether that's state, local, education, or federal, authority, commission, districts, public works, whatever it is, they have a mission, they have a focus, they have a goal, right? And so more than likely, City of Riverside, they care about the aesthetics and the experience of their community. And probably, and my note is going to be here, is probably they care about tourism. And the reason why I think that is, unless City of Arts and Innovation is something that they care about, that's one thing, but more than likely they probably care about bringing people into their community and sharing their arts and innovation with other people that may or may not be traveling through. Okay. So I would read the letter. I'm not going to read everything here. I'm just going to kind of scan it through. And so Envision Riverside's 2025 strategic plan is the name of this 2025 plan. Riverside. Linda, what are you going to do with this information? Well, one thing is like, these are the keywords that I can delegate to someone on my client's team to say, hey, these are things that I want you to look out for in social media. When anytime the City of Riverside posts anything about the Envision Riverside plan, I want you to note it. I want you to take note of that, right? The other thing to say is consist of investment in essential infrastructure projects totaling 160 million in 2022, 23, and in 23 and 24, 115 million. So it went down in one fiscal year by 50 million, about 48 million. So that's really interesting. That would be something that I want to know, is like, why 48 million? That's such a big number. Was it had to do with grants maybe for specific wish list items, or like, that's a big number, quite a drastic shift in just one fiscal year. Okay, so gosh, this copy, I'm wondering if the font just did not translate properly because it's really hard to read. Let me see if I can zoom in. No, it just looks terrible. We're going to do our best. Okay, so in addition to the goals noted above, an objective process for selecting, prioritizing, and funding CIP projects is guided here. Okay, so the summary of this page. So risk to health, safety, environment, regulatory, and mandated requirements. Da, da, da. Okay, so they're just saying this is what's important. This is what we want you to know about this, this specific document. It looks like it was part of a bigger document and they just kind of just only show, like they probably broke it out to what publicly would matter most to people. Okay, capital projects are funded through available operating revenues, bond proceeds, grants, fund reserves, and other funding sources. This is important. So how municipalities, how local government gets their money is through two ways typically. The majority is taxes and grants. So taxes, that's, paying taxes, right? Grants is just like you as a business owner, municipalities actually apply for grants to accomplish projects that they have a need for. So it's something to keep in mind. What happened here? There you go. Okay. Funding. All right. So, however, 57 million anticipated debt proceeds has been budgeted. Okay, so that kind of makes sense now why there's a deficit, because it ended up being some. It became from how I'm reading this, is some debt from these two projects: the Measure Z funded museum renovation and the new police headquarters. So you might be thinking to yourself, I'm not in construction, so how does this might be debt? Okay, might be the cause of deficit is my note for myself. So if you're thinking to yourself, I'm not in construction, why does this matter? Well, in a building, I'm going to put my face for a second so you guys can look at me. Okay, cool. So in a building construction, what do they need? They need sod. They need lighting. They need furniture. They need telecommunications. They need people. They need to hire and recruit people to work in that facility. They need cleaning services. They need maintenance services. They need plumbing. So beyond construction, there's other things. So when you're looking at a project or a contract in government contracting, think to yourself, where do I fall within this flow, or what I call the pearl line? Do I fall before or after this contract? If you fall after the contract, 100% keep track of who gets awarded and all that stuff, because potentially those could be partners in the future. If it comes before, then you could potentially have value or leverage to share with somebody that will be bidding the next part of that project in the future. So let me give you an example. Let's say you are a financial advisor, right? And you're like, I don't see how I'm like, it makes sense for police headquarters projects, right? Well, it's important because right here, their CIP, they're saying that they actually have a debt of $57 million. So more than likely, they're looking at their wish list projects and thinking to themselves, how can we swing this? Like, where does the money come from? How can we reallocate this? Because we just have a new facility. So how can we make this positive while we're taking care of this debt? So there are a lot of different things that you can pull from this information. You just have to look at it in a strategic way, not just black and white always, but just in a strategic way, and guide them and support them through that process. So the museum renovation, again, that's lighting, that's might be sustainable resources. And, I know museums tend to like to have materials that are temperature controlled and that They have specific types of lighting, like LED. They typically lead towards LED lighting. So knowing those things, you're like, oh well, I know a supplier, or maybe I'm an electrician, right? That's how you can start to insert yourself into the programs before they need your services. Build those relationships ahead of time and letting them know, hey, I do a LED. I specialize in LED lighting for museums, and really start to build that relationship and do it integrally, like with integrity, excuse me, because like they're going to ask for your experience, and it's got to be your experience. Like it's your business, it's going to be your experience based off the three strategic positionings that I mentioned before: prime, sub, and JV. Okay. So let's move back to this document. Gosh, the copy is terrible. Okay, so Measure Z. The city continues to deliver on its commitment made with the approval of the city's 1 cent sales tax. We actually had a 1 cent sales tax here in Orlando. So I'm wondering if when they were doing their research, they were looking at cities like Riverside. Just curious if that's kind of something that they're rolling out. Okay, so such roads, sidewalks, and essential facilities. Okay, so this is a 22-24 budget. So I actually want to scroll down to, since this is a 5-year plan, I kind of want to look at look at that. They show you the project locations. If you're in construction, this is huge. You know where you can do laydown, storage, where your team could be, and you want to leverage that, right? You want to tell them in your proposal that, whatever the city is that they have a project. If you have team members in that area and say, hey, we've got residents like that literally walk that are in driving distance of 10 minutes, huge value, right? Huge value, because that's a line item in your budget. Okay, so let's see here. Let's see, municipal and facilities. This design looks so familiar to another. My client has a project like similar design than this. It's so interesting. Okay. That's really interesting. Okay, so they're telling you project locations, specifically telling you where every single project is. So big. Now, this is like, do you know how powerful this information is? Like knowing ahead of time what their focus is so that you could supply them with expertise, like help them, advise them on how to put the RFP together, guide them through the process, make it easy for them to select you because they have just already told you all the things and you just show up and you provide value. And yeah, this is so big. Now, the other part of this, how I look at this COP, and my client, because I know my client hasn't yet done a contract at 13 million yet, or at 10 million. I would assume like there would be different types of projects within that 13 million. But if my client hasn't yet done a $13 million contract, so like, how do I show past performance that can win a $13 million contract? Well, it depends. Depends on the agency. It depends on the size of the contract. It depends on their specific needs and demands that are indicated in the solicitation. It depends. There's a lot of variables, but basic steps that get you further along, about 70-80% towards that goal of having clarity in terms of how do I position to win. One thing is, if you knew, like, this was issued in 2020, 2022, and you saw this, and now you know for the next 5 years, all of their projects. Now you know how to, like, okay, well, if that's what they want, what are the similarities in terms of the services that I'm offering? And do I have that past performance? Now, you can always leverage private sector work, like you're selling to B2B, like business to business or business to consumer or business to enterprise. You can leverage that to win government contracts. So if you're looking at this and you're thinking to yourself, I haven't yet done a $13 million contract, or, it looks like the Cheech Marin Center was is it increase of 800 million, 25, let's say it was for 900,000, like construction renovation 900,000. And you're like, I've never done a $900,000 contract before, Melinda. Totally fine. Go find one. They're everywhere. They're everywhere. While you're building relationship with this client, getting in front of them, finding out what they need. This specific opportunity doesn't say they need sustainability. They're not focused on sustainability or conservation. Typically, that increases the cost quite a bit. Sustainability increases cost. So they're, funding availability. So they have funding for this project. Excellent, because that's more than likely one of the projects that will be dropping before the ones that are not funded, right? Makes sense. But then finding out about ones that haven't been funded. How can you help them get funded? Can you help write a narrative so that they can submit with their application for a grant? And from an expert point of view, just there's so many different ways that you can really support your buyers, your government buyers, in their selling process. Project readiness. So yeah, this is existing infrastructure or facility. So one of the things you could do is start with in your business planning, your marketing planning, is start talking about the projects that you've done infrastructure and facility work and construction. And this was community investment, economic prosperity, like using this terminology in your marketing. And I can go crazy because this is my sweet spot, is talking about strategy, but let me simplify it. Haven't done this type of project before, you have exactly the scope of work. You know exactly what you need in order to win that contract. You know exactly what you need. You build a relationship with that buyer ahead of those contracts. You find out, like, hey, how's it going? Are you guys on, like, is it pressure? Like, if you feel like you're on time, like, is it, these solicitations coming out under, all the things. I don't want to get into it because it's a whole conversation, but doing proper business development, and you take what you find out, the intel, and that forms your marketing, your social media, your email marketing, your messaging. And it's because these terms, these words have powerful money behind them. More than likely, they're in the commercial space. So they're in the B2B space, they're in the B2C space, they're in the B2E space. And if you don't have the government work, well, then just go find the private work. Like, if you don't have the public sector work yet, just get the private sector work. And you're just getting the work, getting the work. And when that opportunity comes in, because you're 5 years ahead. So when the opportunity comes in, you leverage that past performance and boom. All right. So I get excited. All right, guys, you're seeing the nerdy Melinda come out. That's okay. I love to be nerdy. I think being a nerd is the best form of creativity. Just kind of get excited about things. I'm just scrolling through a lot of construction projects. So this is like heritage. Oh, let me show you this one. This is like heritage house pathways. So this is just like ADA pathways. This is just kind of like, what does it say? Repaving, passive travel parking lot restrooms, and the design and installation of an ADA compliant exterior pathway. That's all they're asking for this space. I mean, could you not go to a heritage house and be like, hey, I would love to, and like, replace your toilet. So, I mean, how can I help? Maybe there's an opportunity for you to support Heritage House. Like, I mean, obviously being integral does actually matter. Does it align with your business culture? Does it align with who you are and your identity and your brand? But also saying that, hey, I get to kill two birds with one stone. I get to be a part of the community that I already want to give back to and position myself for opportunity. So that's a way to think about it. Museum, let's see, police headquarters. Okay, parks, recs, and community. A lot of construction, but like I said, it's a domino effect. It impacts multiple things. So more than likely they're going to do this and they're going to do lighting, they're going to do fencing, and it's just on and on and on. Um, Courts, if like this is near your house, you're like, hey, I know exactly where that is. You could, like if you love tennis, we'll take a photo of you at the tennis, court, just kind of hitting some balls or whatnot. Include that in your proposal. Let's see, Bryant Park roof roll cut. So this is for this structure to do a roof on a flat roof and some peak roofs and things like that. Have you done roofing before? Do you have past performance in roofing? Like, it's really, really simple. But this is asset condition, annual recurring costs. Okay, so this is about the prioritization of this project. They're asking for sustainability and conservation. So once they probably do the roof, they're probably going to want to do the interior HVAC system, the windows. They might want to do some tests and look for leaks and things like that. So a lot of domino effect opportunities here. And this is a part of your conversation with buyers. Like, hey, I saw that you're going to be focusing on roofing. Do you think that there will be small projects for X, Y, and Z? All right, this is short access. This is some weir box repair. So this is some more electrical, a lot of electrical um, improvements. Signage. So signage companies, they make a boatload of money in government contracting. Signage companies, if you have a signage company or wayfinding company, there are opportunities galore in government contracting. More than likely, you've already looked at them. This is Cage Canal Trail improvements, Hunter Park Railroad kiosk. So this is just a kiosk. Let's see. Janet Ghost Senior Center restroom innovation. La Sierra Park ADA walk. So a lot of ADA stuff, which is great. Because, when you start to see a pattern like ADA, when you put together your capability statement, you go and share your capability statement with the city of Riverside. You want to make sure to include ADA on there because that seems to be very repetitive in their budget. Let's see, park wall erosion repairs, landscaping improve. Are you a landscaper? This is asset condition, community involvement, but economic prosperity, funding availability. So this is ready to go. If not completed yet, this was done. Okay, so project estimated to be completed by 2022. So this is already done. Isn't it fun to know like when these contracts come out? So this is spring of 2025. This is park renovation. Pool heating improvements. Are you a pool company? Do you have a pool company? This is completed in 2023. Now, the other part of this is what other pools do they have in the city that have not yet been renovated? This is a question you can ask or just do some research and find out. Okay, deck surfacing, park trailhead, wading pool design. Ooh. Oh, so this is a rendering. So this is looking for some design engineering and more ADA. So I got an ADA problem. I wonder, like, this is another thing that I can ask, to do some research on is average age of residents, right? I want to know more about the residents. I want to know about the community. I want to know, are there, senior living facilities? Is this, these are things that I want to know. Local hospitals, so another ADA improvement, another ADA improvement. So like, if you're in ADA construction, you do ADA construction, there's plenty of opportunities. Even if they've passed, just pick up the phone and call them and tell them what you do. And this is your specialty. If it is, right? Okay, garage 3 structure maintenance. Asking for structural maintenance. Okay, so this is structural engineering, garage LED lighting upgrade. This is really big. LED for garages. Garages, yeah. LED for garages is, I've seen a lot of renovation for that in in CIPs. So if you're an electricity or you're an electrical engineer or you have electrical company, that's a specialty. Okay, parking access revenue control system. People ask me like, how do you know so much? Well, it's because I'm reading. This is what I'm reading. I look at this. Even when like we moved like from Georgia, we sold our house in Georgia and we moved to Orlando. I was looking at master plans and capital improvement programs because I was like, I want to know for the next 5 or 10 years if this community that I'm moving into is going to be a hot mess express or they're putting real dollars behind this. Okay, construction expected to start in 2025. So this just started. And okay, PSNF, Quiet Zone, Mission Inn, Third and Spruce. And this is for the project will eliminate the route sounding of train horns along the Burlington North Santa Fe Railway Corridor. The project provides the construction of additional safety improvements consisting of new concrete curb, gutter, sidewalk, tactile strips, directional fencing, warning signs, and a grade crossing warning devices at the Mission Inn Avenue, 3rd Avenue Street. So because this project has already started, well, depending, because technically it's not an essential work, but the dollars have already been awarded. So if they did start work in the summer of this year, they actually were on schedule to do that, then more than likely they are in the tail end of the work, or they're just in the middle of the work, which ultimately is like something you want to watch. If this is what you do, and for my client, this is what he does. So this is something we want to watch. We want to go by, we want to drive by, see how they're doing, check in with the client, how are you feeling with the delivery of this, etc. So, okay, let's see. You'll have to let me know if this is helpful. This is winter 25. So this is another one, construction, and this work includes construction of underpass. So this is another one that good. Okay. What does that say? Oh, so it's just completed. Okay, cool. The CIPs are typically the same no matter what municipality for state, local, and education. They're typically they look the same. This one has photos, which usually they don't have photos. But it also gives you an idea. Like if you're thinking, I want to do business with the city of Riverside, well, now you know what they're spending money on, what they prioritize, how they look at the work, right? They tell you the description, the status. You start to think like, who is doing that work, right? That's the next question that I would ask if I were someone who does rehabilitation of street stations, right? This is wastewater pump station. I would say to myself, well, who's doing the wastewater pump station? Who did it last, right? Like this is something that's public record. Totally look that up and see if they're bigger, the same size, or smaller than me, and really kind of consider what is my strategic positioning for the opportunity that will come up again. Because more than likely for a service business, you're not going to provide it just once and you're done. You're 99% of the time, you're going to provide it over and over and over and over again. So knowing who those players are is going to be essential to how you position. Pipeline. Okay. So this is your CIP. I'm just scrolling through a lot of piping stuff. I feel like they're putting more of the infrastructure towards the back. Yeah, let me see. And what is this? Oh, okay, here we go. Storm drain. Yeah, okay, so let me see if I can. Let's see. Transportation is kind of funny. So I bet transportation is kind of funny because transportation is typically it's a little bit of a half and half. It's usually a municipality project, and a federal project, depending on where the funds come from. So typically, if it is like a local city street, or road, it's usually municipality money. If it's a highway, a major intersection, right? They are they typically include some federal dollars. And why is that important? The reason why that is important is because now, if you've gotten awarded a contract for some, crest whiting, and you find out that it had some Department of Transportation federal money in that contract, that is considered a federal contract. So, let's see. Share program. What is this? Traffic mitigation fee. So this this is just a study. They're just looking for someone to do an analysis. Like, no construction work at all. It's just just go and just do some research. But obviously you need to be a specialist to do that. But you could see the opportunities scrolling through, and so water, and what else they got? And that's it. Oh, got more. Is this the last section? Let's see. Glossary. Okay, yeah. So this is the last section. All right. So save it. Just keep it in my CIP folder. Close that. And so the other one is the Long Beach CIP. And let's see. You can see this one is not dressed up with photos. So very descriptive. This is the background. It kind of looks like, I won't say. Okay, so collaboration of the city department. So these are city with collaboration with other city departments, public works conducted. So this is important because you want to know who the buyers are. And if there's multiple buyers involved in the same projects, like funding wise, the same project, then consider that you've done work with them. So the Department of Public Works and Financial Management, et cetera, have done an evaluation. Okay, cool. So let's see. Let's see, legal requirements. This might be boring for you guys, but that's totally fine. I mean, this is how you find money. The following pages provide a summary of each: airport, beaches, mobility and safety, parks, public facilities, utilities, and harbor. And then they tell you the funds. Oh, great! This is awesome. Gas fund, gasoline tax, street fund. So these are the dollars that they have accumulated. Cool. So they have 600 million. Nice. Okay. So again, this is it says each fund receives revenue from various sources like bonds, fees, and grants. Funding resource sources, the capital projects fund may include, but not limited to, all this stuff. So anytime you might attend a public hearing or see any messaging around the city about like lease revenue bonds or county park bonds and county grants and developer fees, da da da. Like, you're like, I don't know what any of this means. Now you know. Now you know. So cool. So the other part of California, specifically the state of California, their airport system is super cool because their airport system usually is more than one airport. LAWA usually does more than one airport in Los Angeles, but here in this other part of California, they have obviously the Long Beach Airport. They also have, these are also buyers as well. So if you do, gosh, I mean, shoot, any service, so product, security, safety, retail, food and beverage, hospitality, parking, construction, even facility management, cleaning, financial advisory, marketing, branding, social media. If you're a buyer, if you're like these are also clients. So, Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, that they have government contracts, Airport Improvement Program grants. So that's a program. They have contracts. Transportation Security Administration, same thing. Passenger facility charges. These two are more like funding programs, but they sometimes have procurement opportunities. So just by reading this, you find out even more buyers that could potentially be your clients. Okay, so Abrams could click construction and terminal roadway improvements project. So that would be a construction project. And again, if it's too big for you, it's totally fine. Find out who the big guys are. Do subcontracting work for this. Another ADA. So like ADA is a theme for today. So if you are in ADA work in construction, you should be making bank because there's way too much work for one person to have. Okay. These enhancements improve the flow of traffic flow, providing a safer. So this is their objective. That's their objective. Any messaging, any stories, any marketing to this buyer. We're going to say that. We're going to say, we want to help the city of Long Beach. Okay, close. Enhance, improve traffic flow, providing a safer and more easily navigable. I don't think that's anyway. Area for pedestrians, right? So they're getting ready for the 2028 summer. Okay, so here's I'm gonna just kind of pivot here to explain something. So when there is a big, here we go. When there is a big activity, a big program in sports or entertainment, like the Summer Olympics and what did I also say? The Paralympic. Okay, so the Paralympic Games. It doesn't just impact the arena at where the Olympics are going to be. It impacts all local businesses. It's a domino effect. It's huge. It's a huge. So you might hear on the news like they'll say, the Olympics will bring billions of dollars for small businesses and stakeholders in the local area. Like when you hear language like that, that's for you. If you're in Long Beach, that is for you. You want to be involved in that as much as possible. So anything anything related to the Olympics, you want to be involved in that 100%. Like it could be, I mean, this is in 2028 and they're talking about this is in 2025, right? So these are things that they're preparing for ahead of time. You want to be involved in that. More likely, they tend to complete construction at least 6 to 8 months ahead of time so that they can get facilities, refresh with materials and supplies and all that stuff. So that's where other businesses start to come in and take advantage of that if you're in construction. If you're in IT and software, security, cybersecurity, huge. Huge cybersecurity is necessary, not only at the facility, but local facilities to keep, safety top number one priority. If you're in consulting, training, if you're in AV, if you're in, that's your bread and butter, you do AV. You don't have to do it for the arena, but you could do it for local restaurants and businesses and hotels, different after party events. Signage, if you do banners, if you're a marketing company, you could partner with a local banner printer or vendor that can actually supply those and you to provide the designs. On and on and on and on. This is just domino effects just by one thing occurring. You might think, well, how do I get involved? What can you do, right? Uniforms, I'm sure those facilities are thinking, what about the uniforms that we not only we wear but we sell? If dining, they might be going towards caterers and targeting local caterers to provide additional meal prep and plating and catering services for side events that are happening during the Olympic. Like so many things. So just think outside the box. Like and just go in. I am sure if we look it up, and I haven't ever before, but I'm sure because it's a multi-billion-dollar program that typically happens for the Olympics, is you just look it up and you find out procurement, and there you go. And look at your cities, like where is it going to happen? Go to those city municipalities. Again, they're spending money to prepare for that because tourism is at a high peak when that occurs. They want people to keep coming back. Like, oh man, we enjoyed this the Olympics. Man, we love this restaurant. We love this hotel. We love the city streets. It's beautiful. It's clean, safe. These are things that they want people to feel. Kind of like if you ever, well, I like to um, when I'm having guests over, prepare and take care of my guests. But my house is like immaculate. It's always immaculate. It's always clean. I can't live in filth. But it's like over beyond. I'm like, okay, do we have enough beverages? Like, I don't drink soda, so I get soda for my guests. I don't drink soda at all, ever. I was it's 25 years now, so I haven't had soda. But like, what are the things? Coffee. People love coffee. I don't drink coffee either. I like tea. So like, how can I make sure that they had a great experience? Say, oh, this was amazing, Melinda. Thank you so much. And that's hospitality. This is what this state of California is doing to prepare for the Olympics. So keep that in mind. Like, how can you help them achieve their goal? This is what they're saying right here. Let me show you. Improvements existing passenger concourse. So this is the airport. Interior modifications, wayfinding, flight and gate information, display systems, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, IT, security system improvement, and enhanced passenger seating. Lots and lots. The airports in California are going to go bazonkers. And so right now, I'm sure they're testing their security systems, their overall procedures, what if happens scenarios. They're making sure that everybody is on call. They're hiring a ton of people for this specific event. And so just like, how can you be a part of something that's already in motion so that you can just, go faster in government contracts? All right, let's see. It's Department of Public Works. Okay, I'm not going to spend too much more time on this. I hope you guys got it. It's been an hour. Oh my gosh. So airport terminal area improvements, 2 million pavement rehabilitation. This is fiscal year 2026. So because this hasn't happened yet, these contracts are coming. So if you're not in position as a prime, be a position as a subcontractor, 100%. Like, yes, more likely these are going to be at, local contractors that have a long-term relationship with the city, but you could still get in, find a way to get in. Two distinguishing features that contribute to the uniqueness of Long Beach are its beaches and the marinas. Okay, so are you in, does the work that you do include marinas or beaches? Do you do cleaning of beaches or marinas? Do you do security? Do you do what's it called? The porta potties, like whatever, like how can you think outside the box? In fiscal year 25, the city completed the repaving of, so Marina Green parking, Juniper Sports. And so this is something that I do as an exercise for my clients is we actually, like straight out of a movie, we'll look at the vicinity specifically. We'll look at the vicinity and highlight all these spots on a map. And that way we understand, okay, so this is what they're focused on. If they're focused on a specific vicinity, then we want to focus on the vicinity too. Is there another vicinity or that location area that they're also targeting for this big opportunity to increase the economic health of, LA? Okay, the city continues to invest. All right, so this is resources through the Colorado Lagoon Open Channel Restoration Project. I won't go there. Yes, different municipalities work with each other. I'll just leave it that way. Okay, so city expects to enter bidding construction on the Davies Boat Ramp, parking lot restroom improvement project to improve recreational boater access and provide enhanced amenities like fish cleaning stations and upgraded restrooms to public. So they haven't done it yet. So this is an opportunity coming up. Completed design engineering on several projects. So this is something that they've done in 2025. If there's something that you do listed on here, like you're like, oh yeah, that's what I do. I do waterproofing. Well, I want to know if I do waterproofing, I want to know who did it. If it wasn't me, I want to know who did it. And have they been in the government contracting arena for long? What is their what did their contract look like? What did their fee sheet look like? What did their proposal look like? I want to know everything about their bid package. And let's see here. Okay, so a lot about boating, mobility and safety. So good. Okay, and then here are the projects for fiscal year 2026, down to the dollar. So awesome. Park, same thing. Facility improvement, same thing. Utilities, what do they say about utilities? The city's Dick Once Polly, which aims to preserve the integrity of the newly paved and sort of a utility budget includes fiscal year utilities budget includes 89 million in new funding. I want to find out what those things are for my client. Natural gas. So anything related to energy is a tricky wicket. You got to be in. You want to be a specialist in energy to get into energy in government contracting. I don't care what anybody says. It is tricky work because these rules and regulations change like the weather. Okay, it's changed so often. So this is okay. So DOT pipeline safety regulations specifically. Yeah. But my client is not going to do energy. We're not going to do that now. Okay. Cool. Water is always a thing. Water is always a thing. Any natural resources is always going to be in demand. Okay. Of maintenance, construction, improvements, etc. Always. Stormwater. So harbor department. This deep channel is raised. Okay, so this is another client. Like, go to their site, right? See if, are they direct buying from contractors? Fiscal year, they're forecasting $405 million in capital projects, including furniture, fixtures, and equipment. Guys, you see how this is ahead of a contract even existing. It's so fun. It's so fun. It's like when people are like, where do I find the contracts? It's like, go to the capital improvement plans, go to the budgets, the federal budgets, look at them. They are publicly available right now. It doesn't cost anything, and you can do it right now. And so this is great information. I know exactly how much they're spending on things, and I know the descriptions of everything. I know who the buyers, the specific buyers. This one's Harbor Department. I know the specific buyers for this thing. So I'm not guessing, right? Like my client can go directly to the client, to that buyer, and introduce themselves, get familiar with the projects ahead of them ever being a solicitation. If you got this far into this video, that is gold. That is $1 million strategy right there. At least 10 million if you implement it. You're welcome. Okay, so roads and bridges, look at that, 208 million. Dredging, capital projects. So these are other infrastructure related projects. And that's it. Cool. All right. So you guys got it. Hopefully that was helpful just to just follow along in just some research that we do. There's, faster ways that we do that. It doesn't usually take us an hour and a half to do that, but there are faster way to do it. I go a lot faster usually when I'm scanning and reading. So, and then we've built tools. My team and I have built tools so that it doesn't take that long. So if you're interested, if you want to learn more how you can work with me and my team, how we can help you get into government contracts and honestly save you a ton of headache and time so that you can just focus on building your business, building relationships with government buyers, doing the introductions, and so that the proposals and the strategy and all that stuff is built for you. go ahead and click the link down below. Come to GovSkill Insider Masterclass and learn my GovCon sales strategy. Learn how my clients have achieved over $4.4 billion in government contracts, and learn how you can install the same exact system that enterprise organizations, potentially client companies that you used to work for, are doing it at a big level so that you could accelerate your success in building a rock solid foundation and system in your small business today. So thanks so much for watching this video. Hopefully this served you quite a bit, and take care. See you in the next one.